Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today I figured during my break, my schedule has been crazy, but I would jump up here and kind of give you an update. So if anybody has been following me, you know that despite the EV softwares, my car was still having issues with braking. Now, some people in the comments on my channel as well, Jordan Rose, and I'll link his channel up here somewhere or in the description. If you go to his channel, you will see a full video of the diagnostic testing that he performed on my EV recently. Again, a lot of people were complaining about, the terminology when you're using this bricking, but bricking in the electronic world means that something basically is not functioning correctly. So anybody who wants to get technical, look up the word bricking when it comes to electronics, but I digress. So basically, despite the software updates, everything was promised that these things will be operable. I was still having issues. So I decided, it is a hike, but I said, I'm going to take my vehicle to Jordan Rose, got in contact with him, and drove over an hour and a half to get up with him. But you know what? I think it's well worth it because he has similar viewpoints to myself. We are trying to promote the good with this vehicle, and if the bugs can be taken care of, I think this is going to be a fantastic vehicle versus a lot of negativity that you hear on different platforms. Overall, I think that the EV has potential, and I'm going to continue to say that. Hopefully Stellantis, Dodge, they will look at channels like myself and actually give us the voice or this platform that we are trying to promote here. Has a lot of bugs to it. Yes, I do, agree to that, but I don't think overall, it deserves this negativity that has been circulating around the social media. I don't think so. So again, Stellantis, Dodge, if you're hearing me, please holler at your girl, because we're trying to sit here and promote this vehicle. That being said, let's kind of go through, and I'm going to insert certain clips to his video to support what I am saying. So in summary, let's kind of go back. For background. So anybody who has an EV, you know that these vehicles are basically working on a huge battery. So the Dodge in particular, because I'm talking about the Dodge EV, it has a huge battery, and that battery is about 100.5 kilowatt battery. So that is the main supplier for the energy of that car. And then if you look in the back of the car, EVs also have a 12-volt battery. Okay, so the 12-volt battery is, things for smaller things. We're talking about the electronics. We're talking about basically the info systematic kind of thing to the car. We're talking about the AC, the alarms, the starting of the car, basically to get it going, right? That is what the 12-volt battery is supposed to do. The main battery does its function and basically delivers the significant amount of power to the vehicle to make it operable. So both work together. And when we're talking about the 12 volt, so I know there has been, research going out there, and the 12 volt is basically incorporated into the EVs for a safety mechanism, because we don't want to be driving in these huge vehicles and having this huge current with this battery continuously. It increases the risk of safety. We're talking about fire, malfunction to the vehicle. So that's why they incorporate this 12 volt battery. That being said, the 12-volt battery has to be performing or it can have issues. Now, in Jordan's diagnostic workup, he did a couple of things. So the first thing is he hooked it up and he found that I did need another software update.
We're going to start diving into this car and see what we can find. So as we're loaded in, I can see the car, and right off the bat, I can see that we have 11 codes. It'll give me a couple prompts. And here is our topology. This is the CAN networks, and this is every model that's on this vehicle. Blue means everything's okay. Yellow means that there's a fault that's been detected. And right here, if you guys see this green lightning bolt, that's pretty good. That means that there is a software update available for one of these models.
And I will highlight that. So based on his, schematics or his kind of algorithm, you will see that there are certain things that are highlighted that I needed to get upgraded. There's another upgrade that was not available at the time, so I will be going and taking my vehicle back to him to fix that one. And also, when he was doing the diagnostic kind of workup, he basically differentiated two different types of codes. One is basically a stored code, and one is an active code. So the active code is what the car is actually having issues with at the particular moment. The stored code, I kind of think about it of, you know, you're in a relationship, right? And us as females, every little thing that you do, we store it in our memory because it pissed us off, right? And that's what that is. So the stored codes are every little thing that car in the past did not like, and it stored it saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to remember this at some point. And if it's fixable, you better fix it, because if, like a female, if we compile all those codes, right, and remember everything that you did, we're going to be passive aggressive and we're going to blow up, right? It's the same thing to the car. So there were stored codes as well. So he also went in and said, okay, out of these stored codes, are there codes that can be fixed? So he took a lot of, you know, he took care of a lot of those things that required the system or the software update. Then he also went back in, and again, he found that one software update that was not available, and that was the mapping, I believe the mapping interface module. So when that one is available, I will keep you updated on that as well. So once he did the codes and he updated the software that went along with the codes, he also went in the back of the vehicle, and then he started to looking at all the ground wires to make sure that they were securely in place. He was saying too that a lot of these cars during shipment, if they didn't work or they were bricked, a lot of the transporters were just going back there and basically taking the battery out, putting it back in. So a lot of the cables they found were not securely tightened. So he made sure that was okay. Finally, he got to the battery, the 12-volt battery in the back. Now we're talking about that 12-volt battery. And remember, high voltage battery, the huge battery, is what actually powers the car, right? The 12-volt battery is used for the operational things like the alarms, the background things, the power accessories, those things, and for starting the car. What he did is he connected to, and you'll see in the video, this multimeter, right? So this multimeter is going to test the battery to see if it can keep a charge. So that 12-volt battery is supposed to maintain a charge, and I think when I was kind of doing the research, it's around 12.6 volts. Okay, so if that thing drops below 10 volts, that means that it's not holding a significant charge, and ultimately that can have issues with bricking, with a lot of the technical issues inside the car. And lo and behold, he got a code that says, Eureka, this 12-volt battery is not keeping charge. So he ordered a 12-volt battery replacement. So that is in place. So then I started doing research. I said, you know what, with my, inquisitive brain, I wanted to sit here and say, well, what the heck is going on, right? So we all know that 12-volt battery, it gets charged from that big battery, right? Because you remember, we have no alternator, things like that with the EV. So it gets the charge from that. But then I started thinking about, you know what potentially, with a brand new car, why do I need a 12-volt battery replacement? And then I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? Now, this is where I have, again, the issue with Stellantis. And I'm not saying that my theory is correct, but it kind of makes sense, or makes sense in my head. These cars, if you go back to my channels, you'll remember that the 2024, the 2021, these cars were late getting onto the lot. So they were sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And there are several reasons or things that can cause these 12-volt batteries to die, right? Or lose their lifespan. Because these things are supposed to be, lifespan, I believe when I was looking at it, anywhere from 3 to 5 years. This is a brand new car. I've literally only had this car for, I would say, if that, 90 days. Okay, so that battery should not be having to be replaced. So going back at my theory, there are two things when it comes to batteries and how they can be drained. If it is left unused for a specific amount of time, so that is called time frame, basically, where these cars have sat on the lot, these cars in rotation, you don't know how many times these cars, these batteries have been finagled basically to, you know, get them restarted if they were bricking before they got to the lots. So this extended period of time causes these batteries to ultimately fail prematurely, right? Because the lifespan of these batteries should be anywhere from 3 to 5 years, more so towards 5 years. So that's one of the things. So if these things have been inactive, which we know, because you remember these cars were late getting on the lot, 2024, 2025s, then that certainly could be contributing. One of the things that I would recommend for a Daytona EV owner is to make sure that you take your car to be serviced and for them to put your battery on the multimeter and see if your battery is holding a charge, because I can guarantee you that might be one of the issues. Now, I'm not saying, because I haven't picked up the car yet, I pick it up tomorrow, but I'm not saying that that's going to fix everything, but potentially that could be one of the things going on. The other thing, here I go, now here I'm starting to think something has to also be draining that battery, and that's called parasitic drain. So something in the background, and this is where I sit here and encourage Stellantis to do further evaluation, because what Jordan did and what we are doing together in collaborating is to take this information, all these codes that came from my car, and actually create a diagnostic or a report that's going to be to Stellantis so that they can review everything. They can get their team to kind of look at these things and say, okay, if Hellcat Honey's car did all these things and we can sit here and start fixing these things, then we can go out to the dealerships and we can start sending this out and try to get other EV people who are having the same issues. Maybe this can fix resolve some of the issues that currently is going on. And that is the goal that Jordan and myself are trying to do. We're trying to make it aware and trying to get Stellantis to be proactive about these issues. If you look at all of these channels, we are having the similar issues, whether or not it's bricking in the cold, whether or not it's bricking completely in front of the house, whether or not it's something that is causing a parasitic drain, and it's something to do with that battery. Now, again, all speculatory, because I am inside daily, driving this car. So firsthand, this is my theory. So we have to test this hypothesis to actually see if this is correct. But I think by working with Jordan, working with Stellantis and Dodge, working together, I think that we can sit here and tackle this head on, and I think we might be able to move in the positive direction. And this will allow people who really want to get into this EV, who are scared because of all of the issues, will be allowed the opportunity to get into this EV and enjoy the car for what it is. But let's kind of get back on that parasitic drain. So this includes alarm systems. This includes your clocks, your computer memory, all of the things that we have, all the sensors and all of that. So that is what I am sitting here going to request of Stellantis, that they look at the background stuff going. It's just like a phone, right? It's a huge phone. All of the cache in our phone slows down the phone. Something is draining the battery. I am not going to sit here and say what I think is draining the battery on here, but I'm going to work with Jordan, because I think that what I'm thinking, I think is probably draining that battery. But stay tuned for that. But lo and behold, long story short, we are going to compile this report, send it to Stellantis, and see if this can help people who are in our situations, because I really want people who want to try this car be able to try the car. And yes, there's a lot of controversy going on with, leasing versus buying. It's stupid to lease a car. Well, I have never leased a car in my life, everything I've owned, and that's all fine and dandy. Whichever direction you choose, just be smart about it. But I will tell you that this opportunity right now to lease this car is fantastic for people who, A, don't have the money to actually get into this car. A lot of people, a lot of providers lease vehicles because they like supercars, they like sports cars, they like these cars, but they don't want to be obligated to keeping this car for a long period of time. So it allows people to enjoy these cars at a lower monthly rate versus buying this car flat out and having a huge mortgage payment for these vehicles. So I don't want people to sit here and bash one way or the other. Just be smart about whatever decision you choose to do, whether or not it's leasing, if that's conducive to your pockets, or if buying. But I will sit here and say, whatever decision, make sure that it is a decision that you can afford. Make sure it is a practical decision, because again, we are the alpha testers with these vehicles. We are good, bad, ugly, indifferent with this vehicle, and we are bringing you live time what is going on with this car. Bad, good, ugly. Okay, this car has been inoperable for several times, but again, this is my second, not my daily driver. If I need it to be, this is my second car. So if it's inoperable, I still have another car to transport me to do the things that I need to do in my daily life. That being said, if that is something that you want, you can shoot me any questions you want to. You can definitely go to Jordan Rose's channel. You can go to the other YouTubers who have actually experienced this car and who can share real life depiction of what it is having this car. But in saying that, I do believe that there's potential with this car, and I think the more and more that we sit here and make Stellantis aware of the issues that we're having with this car, I think this car is going to be headed in the right direction. And for all of those who say that the EV is dead, I do want to sit here and drop this little bug. Right now, the EV is dead, and yes, there's a lot of regulations that are changing, the EPA, but I always tell people, at the end of the day, the rules change depending on who and what party is in office, okay? I'm not saying that the Republican Party is going to be kicked out in 4 years. I'm not saying that they're going to stay, because my channel is not sitting here trying to talk about politics. But we also have to be very careful when we say things like, there's no room for EVs, because if the political shift changes in 4 to 8 years, EVs are going to come back. And hopefully this time, not only Stellantis, but I think the car industry needs to embrace, or I should say, for lack of a better term, prepare, because that is what is the difference between Dodge, formerly Dodge, now Stellantis, and Ford's and these other companies, is because they prepared and they had a lot of points going towards, when you're looking at EPA regulations, they had a lot of point systems because they had hybrids, they had EV cars, and that allowed them to continue making those V8s that we love as V8 lovers, right? Stellantis, formerly known as Dodge, unfortunately, their business plan, they did not prepare for that. So they did not have enough credits to continue making the V8s. And that is why they rushed making these EVs, to try to sit here and accommodate to those regulations, because the political shift was different a couple of years ago. So we have to be mindful of that. At any point, political shifts can change. And then we're talking about a whole nother issue, whether or not it's EV or continuing the V8s. And I think that is the takeaway home thing for Stellantis. They need to prepare for both if they're going to ultimately continue playing in this game. A lot of people were talking about Tesla, and I want to be very transparent as well. You have to remember that Dodge, formerly Dodge, now Stellantis, was not a company built on EVs. Tesla was a company that was built on designing software, EVs, energy efficient things. So ultimately their whole focus was on those things. Dodge, formerly as Dodge, now Stellantis, did not start in the game with EVs. So technology wise, yes, I do agree that they are behind Tesla. But again, two different business models. One started off in energy efficient, and that is their main projected pathway. The other one, V8s, all of the, you know, gas engine vehicles that we have grown to love over the years, and has dipped into the EV. And I don't think it was willingly, I think it was forcefully, because the EPA regulations have changed and they were in a corner to do something, or, you know, we're done, you know, we need to try to do something. And ultimately they rushed it, and now as a result of that, we as alpha testers have this electric vehicle car that at times is not operable. But again, I think that we are moving to the right direction. Please support Jordan Rose over there at Virginia Beach. He has been fantastic, nothing but fantastic. The whole team over there. Did I travel a very long way? Absolutely. But my thing is, if you want quality, you're gonna go where the quality is. So again, the last thing I will leave with you guys: do not bash these dealerships, okay? A lot of people are bashing dealerships specifically. I'm not going to call out no names. And it's not the dealership's fault. These dealerships did not make the car. These dealerships were, you know, I do believe, now I will say, let me put my little contingencies up here, that the sales department, the service department, all of the people in the dealership need to make a better effort in being more aware of what's going on. They need to be more willing to actually do more work when it comes to these EVs. They need the training, but they has to have a willingness to want to go over and beyond for these vehicles. I think that is the biggest issue, because when you're sitting here as a frustrated customer, and that could be anything that you buy, I don't care if it's a toy, I don't care if it's medicine, I don't care if you're coming to see me and you don't get answers, you're frustrated as a customer, as a consumer, right? So having somebody look at you and say, well, I don't know what's going on. Well, I'm spending money and I'm basically wanting you to figure it out. And when you constantly are hit with I don't knows, that can make somebody disgruntled. But changing the attitude, or, you know, maybe gearing the training towards these dealerships to actually promote willingness to try to understand this vehicle, or have some kind of critical thinking to figure out what is going on versus, I don't know, I wasn't trained in it. I think that will sell for any dealership, or make the dealership better marketable when somebody is trying to actually look for purchasing a vehicle or staying with a dealership. And in saying that, I cannot speak anything less than highly of Jordan Rhodes and the dealership where he's at. So if you're around this area and you need help, check him out. Again, just my 2 cents. I got to get back to work here, but I thought that I would make this video. Please leave me comments, and I will keep you updated. I am working with Jordan Rose. We are going to keep you updated on the updates. We're going to keep you updated on this car, if we can get Stellantis. So I want these videos to go out. Please help me get these videos out, because we are answering questions. We are actively working on the scene, behind the scene, trying to get this car fixed. So if you are anybody out there, I don't care if you're Stellantis, if you're Dodge, hey, Tim, please invite me to dinner one day. Oh my God, I would love to pick your brain. I don't care if it's not Tim himself, it's the vice president, or you have certain people under you. Just give us a shot to sit here and promote your products. I mean, good Lord. I would love to sit here and promote that new TRX coming in all of your cars. Please give us a shot, because we are the people on your team. Again, you know, I'm not trying to pitch, and maybe, you know what, maybe I am doing an elevator pitch, because it's time out for people who have huge platforms to continue to promote negativity. Give the lower people a chance. Give us a chance, because we are the ones that have been loyal to this brand. We are the ones that have literally decided, you know what, I'm not going to go out here and buy a Mercedes. I'm going to buy a Mopar, because you know what, I grew up with that. That was my dream as a kid, and I purchased that. We are the ones. So give us an opportunity. And a lot of people are in different, you know, areas in their lives. They're younger, some are older than me, some are, you know, like me, where we got kids, we got mortgages, we got student loans, we got all these things. And we want to be able to purchase, you know, moving forward, the TRXs and, you know, these vehicles. Just be mindful, Stellantis or Dodge, or just be mindful. The people, your consumers, be mindful when you have these vehicles coming out, the prices. Because people who love these vehicles, the only reason why these vehicles aren't doing well is because the prices are oversaturated. It's too high. It's too high. If you have somebody like myself who's a working mom, who has kids, who has a family, you got a husband who is working, trying to make ends meet, student loans and all that stuff, do you really think that we're going to sit here and want to buy a TRX that's $120,000? Or are we going to buy a TRX that's affordable when it first came out for $74,000? So whoever is sitting on this here seat, or, you know, this round table, just be mindful of that, because we ultimately love the vehicles. But if you sit here and make these vehicles out of our reach, then you will never end up having somebody who's truly passionate about your product, because you don't give us the opportunity to get into the product. And I'm sure that I probably get bashed for this, but you know what? I got a thick skin. I could care less about these comments that are rolling in. But for the average person out there who really wants these cars, try to make a mid-sized car. Try to make, you know, a smaller vehicle for people who really want to sit here and get into these vehicles and enjoy them throughout life. I mean, I grew up with neons. I grew up with those cars, and I'm telling you, when my pockets weren't as deep as they are now, I thought I was the crap with these cars, okay? You couldn't tell me nothing. I mean, horsepower won't go nowhere. But you know what? It's because we were passionate about what we had. We were proud of what we had. So give us the opportunity again. And you can DM me, Stellantis, or whoever. You can call me, holler at your girl. I am willing to sit here on the front line to promote your brand. Again, I will talk to you guys in another video. Have a good day.
The majestic beat all day.